Welcome to another episode of our podcast, talking to our Colonel, Elliott, and I, my partner. What's happening, young fella?
We have been doing really well, Daryl, and I'm looking forward to this podcast for 2022.
Actually, we've been doing a lot of traveling.
We have been.
We're doing a lot of traveling.
We've been talking to a lot of good candidates, a lot of good universities,
Exactly.
a lot of good military people.
Exactly. Now we're going to slow down a little bit and find out what's been going on in the last year that we didn't see in 2021 with our Colonel. We spoke to, I guess this is your third time coming on?
Third time, yeah.
Third time coming on.
Right
This is the charm.
Yeah.
So we want to get into some things that are going on in our department. Any rumors that, Elliott, he loves to hear something fresh, something new.
I got that on my list of things to go on.
You have that on your list. But we want to reflect and go back to 2021 on some of the initiatives that you had, how things are going now, and what we're looking forward to in 2022.
Yeah, so I think probably the best way to do that is to maybe go over the goals that we set for 2021 and reflect a little bit on our performance. We'll talk a little bit about what it is that we sought to achieve and how we ended up performing.
Okay.
And the very first one that the very first goal that we established last year was to reduce our department-generated emails by 10% compared to 2020. It's funny because a lot of people don't understand the genesis of this goal. But the purpose of this goal was, I'm old enough to remember when you'd come to work and you wouldn't have email. And funny enough, we still got the job done, right?
Mm-hmm.
We get mired down in email.
Right.
I mean, it's such an ineffective way of communicating. It's efficient because you can get a message out to a lot of people very fast, right? But we become so reliant on email. And really, so the goal here was, pick up the phone, call somebody, get up out of your chair, walk over to someone's office, have a face-to-face conversation.
Right. Like the old days.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Stop hiding behind email. We need to have interpersonal communication. So really, it wasn't about necessarily reducing the numbers so much as it was emphasizing the importance of interpersonal communication.
Good.
Well, we have failed miserably in that goal. We,
Right.
in fact, increased our email by 10% last year. Some of it had to do with teleworking and COVID and things of that nature. But the message is out, the message is clear. We need to change the way we interact. We're a large organization, but that doesn't mean we need to be bureaucratic.
Right.
We need to be personal. We need to emphasize personal relationships. So, if we had reduced by 10%, I was going to try to reduce again by 10%.
Right.
This year, we're pivoting a little. Kind of getting into the next year's goal or this year's goal, but this year what we're trying to do is we're trying to reduce email size. We're hoping to ask people to keep their emails under 27 words.
Okay.
In other words, keep it short. And if it has to be more than 27 words, pick up a phone and make a phone call. We're going to just try another approach to get the same result.
That's a good idea.
That works for me because I already
exactly.
say yes or no, and that's it.
Yeah.
Because you are the ones that send out emails all the time, Elliott.
I do.
Well, look, I hate it. Not Elliott's emails, but just in general. The work that we do is too important, and the communications are too precious to be squandered in a way that's so ineffective.
Right.
That's true. Yeah.
And so everything we do, I say this all the time, we're in the people business. You can't connect with people at a deep level via email. You just can't do it. So,
but I will say with that goal of the reduction of 10%, we have increased a media and marketing office with more like the newsletter, the feed, and things like that, so people will stay abreast of what's going on. And like Chris and Shadula, who are here now with us, putting out videos, informational videos that are more encompassing of what's going on in the organization.
Right.
yeah, we are
And the
working hard to create a robust internal and external communication strategy.
Right.
It's important, but that's all part of that. Part of being in the people business. How do we connect to people on that deep interpersonal level? So they recognize who we are, what we stand for, what our purpose is, both internally and externally. And I think that's going well for us.
Right. Oh, yeah.
But like I said, email is not the way to do it.
Right.
The next goal, we anticipated a 50% increase in DUID, or driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol.
Okay.
Traffic fatalities with the legalization of marijuana, or I should say the decriminalization of marijuana effective July last year. We came to that number based on the experiences of other jurisdictions, specifically Colorado.
Okay.
That had that output. So we anticipated a 50% increase, and our goal was to ensure that we did not exceed a 20% increase in traffic fatalities associated with impairment in 2021 compared to 2020 stats. We actually increased our DUI and DUID arrests by 7% last year, and we reduced fatal crashes by 28% compared to 2020. So not only did we not have a 20% increase or a 50% increase, but we had a 28% decrease. We really emphasized DUI and DUID investigations last year. We had 15 officers attend advanced roadside impairment driving enforcement training. We had 3 officers complete the drug recognition expert training, which is extensive medical training. And we did 8 traffic blitzes. We did some high visibility enforcement activities where we put the information out to the public and the media. So I think we really have emphasized traffic safety. And you know, to be clear, traffic fatalities are incidents that are 100% preventable when you have a traffic fatality. Right? It's somebody's been careless, somebody's been reckless, somebody's been negligent. And when someone dies in a car crash, it's a sudden, violent, and random death.
Right.
And it's completely preventable.
Right.
So, you know, we're committed to traffic enforcement. It is certainly not the most popular activity that we engage in. But I tell people all the time that if you've ever knocked on a door and had to tell a parent that their child is not coming home, you will understand our motivation for doing traffic enforcement.
Good.
And we're doing it, and we're saving lives.
And we're sending a message out.
Saving lives and saving property damage.
Right.
I mean, the property damage alone is extensive
Right.
from these type of fatalities or accidents.
Yep. So the third goal that we had was to increase opportunities for diversity within our sworn ranks by experiencing a 10% increase in our 2020 applications submitted by racial minorities, females, and other candidates who identify with historically underrepresented populations. So overall, our applications were down for all demographic categories, and I think that's probably the experience of every law enforcement agency in the country. But overall, we increased our minority application input by about 3%. So we did experience some increase in minority interest in our agency, and I think that's a positive thing. And you know, the other thing I think that is noteworthy is, you know, as we have this discussion, we remain fully staffed as an organization, and so the quality of our candidates have increased.
Yes.
You know, it's not so much to get the numbers. I don't care about the numbers. What I care about is, do we have quality people applying for us? And we do. And, you know, I would rather have a smaller applicant pool of high-quality candidates than a large applicant pool of people that don't show up for testing.
Exactly.
So the people that are applying, they're more diverse than ever before. They're more serious than ever before. They're more qualified. They're filling our ranks, and they're doing a great job. And our police service aid program. That's awesome.
That's been really good.
That's been really good.
Yeah,
really good.
We just had an academy graduation a couple of months ago. We had 5 former police service aides that we tapped on the shoulder, offered appointments to our academy. They graduated, and now they're sworn officers. And that is our school to squad pipeline. We talked about it last year.
Yes, we did.
It is coming to fruition.
And there's several departments that we have spoken to want to implement that same type of program to their police department. And this is local.
These are local agents.
So how do y'all do it? And again, we said, well, you know, we'll get you the information. But it is a great program, and it's working for us. So, and we do hear that when we go recruiting. We love that program.
Yeah.
I know I was out in Powhatan, 3 months ago, and approached a guy about the police officer job, and he's not old enough yet, but he already knew about that position because a buddy of his is in the position now. So I emailed him back, said, hey, the application's open. He's already applied.
Wow. It's awesome.
But he's excited about it.
That's a good
opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we're, with this upcoming budget year, based on our additional funding request for the year, if that gets approved, we're going to be up to like 27 or 28 police service aides.
Wow.
And, let's face it, most police departments in the United States don't have 27 or 28 officers.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
We've got 27 or 28 police service aides. So, we're in really good shape. we recognize that a small percentage of those police service aides are going to remain police service
Sure.
aides, and that's good.
Yeah,
because
it
that
is. It
creates
is.
stability in the
Exactly.
program.
It does.
Training officers and such, so that's good. But the majority of them, it's an opportunity for them to kind of dip their toe in the pool,
Yep.
see whether
Yep.
or not they like it.
Yep.
And what we're finding is everybody who is dipping their toe in the pool is jumping in.
Good.
Right.
Good.
Which is good.
Great.
So our the next goal that we worked toward was to decrease the number of larcenies from automobiles in county parks by 20%. And there was a couple of reasons that we do that. A lot of people don't know this, but Chesterfield County is a sports tourism destination for nationwide.
Right.
People come
Yes.
here from all over the country
Yep.
to participate in athletic competitions. So we want to make sure that when someone comes to Chesterfield, they feel comfortable, they feel safe, and that their experience is something that's positive.
Right. Exactly.
And so that was one of the reasons why we wanted to focus on our county parks. And we were wildly successful in attaining that goal last year. And some of it had to do with the partnership that we've developed with Smartwater CSI and some surveillance programs and some bait cars that we set up. But we were actually able to meet that goal of reducing automobile larcenies by 20%
Good.
in county parks.
I know I saw in some of the county parks we had like little billboards, little digital.
Right.
I don't know what you call them, digital billboards scattered throughout the Rockwood Park one day, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's part of our internal and external messaging strategies. We feel that it's appropriate. Let's let the community know the things that we're emphasizing.
Yep,
Like,
exactly,
hey, don't break into
exactly.
cars in this park
Exactly.
because we're watching.
Yep, yep.
And and funny enough, generally when you tell people stuff, they listen.
Hey, listen,
Yeah.
A lot of businesses, they'll reach out to the public and the community and they'll say, come visit our business. And so we have a similar strategy, but a lot of times what we're doing is we're communicating to people who maybe are otherwise predisposed to victimize others, and we're saying,
Exactly.
hey, don't pull that nonsense here. Go somewhere else and do it.
And it's funny you say that. We were in South Carolina last week, and a couple came out of a restaurant, and they said, I know Chesterfield County. It's a halfway point for going to Pennsylvania.
Right.
And one of the kids' best friend had just went to college in Pennsylvania, so they stopped in Chesterfield County. And when they met us, we were like, I see your car. I just left your county. I didn't even know anything about Chesterfield County, but that was our halfway point to get to Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So it does work. It does work.
And one of the things I love about Chesterfield is that we have that huge American flag.
Yes.
288
Coming through.
995,
Yes.
right? And that is a
Yes.
destination. As you come through, you're traveling 995, maybe you're going Florida to New York or whatever. You end up looking up, you see that flag, you're in Chesterfield.
Yes.
Right.
And
Yes.
to me, I had the opportunity when that flag was put up. Sheriff Carl Leonard and I got to go into a bucket on a crane, and we went to the very top of that flagpole, 212 feet above the ground, and we got to sign the ball
Wow.
on top of that flag.
Oh, that's cool.
And that
Yeah.
was just an incredible experience.
Good.
And it's
Good.
funny how big that ball is, because when you're on the ground and you look up, it just looks like a little ball.
Exactly. It does. It does. But good.
So the other, another goal we had was to earn 2 additional departmental peer review and accreditation certificates in 2021. And the reason that we wanted to do that, look, there's a lot of discussion nowadays out there in the public about the importance of oversight of law enforcement agencies. And let's be clear, it's important that people feel comfortable and safe with their police department. You hear a lot of stuff out there. It's not a representative sample of the everyday average work that's being done in law enforcement, but you hear some salacious stuff and it causes people concern. And people are right to be concerned because government should make sure that they're serving the needs and the will of the people and their community. So having outside oversight, I think, is important. The problem you run into, I've talked to some community groups about this, and they say, well, citizen reviews of uses of force and things of that nature, that builds community trust. And so I simply asked the provocative question intentionally, does Seattle have a citizen review board for use of force? Well, yes, they do. Well, does Portland have a citizen review board for use of force? Well, yes, they do. Well, how is community trust in those jurisdictions?
Right.
Right.
Right?
Excellent.
The answer is
None.
very bad.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right? The fact is, most people are informed about how law enforcement should work by television and movies and the entertainment industry. And that is not an accurate representation of what actually happens. So, my goal is to identify people that understand what we do that aren't affiliated with the agency. So the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, for example, those are national recognized experts in those types of investigations, right? So we have a partnership with them. CALEA, we have, it's an international accredited organization. They look at best practices for law enforcement. They bring in outside assessors, and they take a look at our operations and our policies. Our operations matching our policies?
Policy, yeah.
And do our policies and operations reflect the benchmarks that are established for best practices for law enforcement?
Right.
So, we're VLEPSI accredited through the state. We're CALEA accredited through CALEA internationally. We have a NECMEC certification. So we're working on identifying additional opportunities, and we've initiated the process with CALEA to do this triad program where we're our police training academy, because we have our own academy, our police department, and our emergency communications center will all fall under the CALEA accreditation, which is that's a very comprehensive accreditation program. And then we're also, Sandy Simons is working toward the International Association for Identification Latent Print Certification. And we're working toward that process too. Now there's some time requirements for that we're looking to meet, but we have initiated that process, and so we've checked off that goal.
Good.
We continue to do outside audits for best practices. In fact, we repurposed a records position last year and hired a civilian outside, someone who's not in law enforcement, not sworn, and assigned that person to our Office of Professional Standards to do nothing but proactive audits and inspections of anything and everything that person wishes to look for in the police department.
Right.
As an augmentation to our accreditation.
Right.
That type of oversight of people that know what they're doing, that ensures quality. And if there's a blind spot in our operation, if there's a blind spot in our policy, I want to know about it because I'm responsible for the output of our agency. And if there's something that we're not seeing or something we're not doing that we think we are, the more knowledgeable hands on deck that we have to identify it, the better off we all are.
Right, no question.
Yeah. So another goal we had was to reduce pedestrian-involved traffic fatalities by 30%. Pedestrian-involved traffic fatalities last year actually went down by 50% over our 2020 numbers. So we're pretty happy about that. Of course, anytime someone's hit by a car and they're killed, that's a tragedy.
Yep.
Right.
Last year we had an individual who was fleeing the scene of a crime, and he was running across the street, and he got hit by a car and he got killed.
Right.
And that again, terrible tragedy.
Yep.
Sometimes these things are not preventable, but we did put out some pedestrian safety cards and handed them out to at-risk populations. Unfortunately, one individual who was struck by a vehicle and killed, we found the pedestrian safety card in their pocket.
Wow.
So we do know that the
message is
right
getting out
people
there.
are getting
Exactly.
the message.
Exactly.
Right.
We mourn the loss of any time someone dies unnaturally again like that, but we are doing our best to try to educate the public.
Yep.
And again, slow people down and let people know don't drive like fools in Chesterfield.
Exactly.
And I know we had some officers going out at 4 or 5 a.m.
Yes.
in the morning to make contact with people who are on bicycles, bicycle lights on our busier highways. But the public rarely sees an officer out at 5 a.m. who's working on pedestrian or bike safety.
Right.
We don't think along those lines because you don't see that on television.
Well, you're right. There's just, we were talking a little prior to the podcast about the fact that as you elevate through an organization in terms of your responsibility and scope, you see more broadly.
Right.
And I will tell you that if the majority of the population could see the operations of this agency at the level that I see it, they would have such a deep appreciation and love and admiration for the men and women that do this job because they are out at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, talking with people who are maybe living in homeless camps.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Particularly vulnerable populations, people struggling with addiction. They're bringing people blankets.
Yep.
They're bringing people food. And, Truth of the matter is, there's a lot of people out there these days that will take that stuff, they'll put it out on social media. And the fact is, we tell our story on social media, but we don't exploit people and say, well, look, I'm giving this person food, and put it on. That's not how we roll. That's not how we operate. But I will tell you, every single day, members of our department are doing things like that, things that would warm your heart if you knew about it. And I'm just so incredibly proud of our people.
Right. But I'm not surprised that we do that, but I think our community knows we do that. Maybe not in the whole scheme of seeing the bike safety and all that in the morning time, or the outreach. But I just know our community, and being part of this community for over 30 years, they appreciate what we do. We might not hear it in specific, things that we have done, but they do appreciate it.
Well, I know we see it all the time.
All the time.
I think that the media and perception is people are anti-police.
Right.
And that's not the case.
No, not at all.
I don't know
not
where I have been when someone has not said, hey, I pull up through the drive-thru to pay for my meal.
Yeah.
And then hey, the car ahead of us already paid for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you go in someplace and people stop. And I know Daryl and I went to Clemson last week.
And a gentleman just came out of nowhere said, I got your coffee.
Right.
I said, nope, sir, I don't need you to do it. He said, no, you don't understand. I like you. I like your guy. I like what you guys stand for. I got you. That's a feeling you get that you appreciate it, not only in Chester. We weren't even in his county.
South Carolina.
We're in South Carolina.
Yeah.
So I think our community see that. We might not hear, like I say, the specifics that they hear about.
Right.
But that love for the police department is there, and more than the bad people that
And
are.
we still have kids who want to have police birthday parties.
Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or want the
They're
cars
into
to
it.
come
Well,
by.
they
Can you
wanna-
bring a police car
Yeah.
by my house, please?
Hey, and let me tell you something. This is something that I think it's not part of our goals, but it merits mentioning. Our crime rate last year is down 10.8% over a 5-year average. We have crime rates that are skyrocketing around us.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
And our crime rate continues to drop. Our recruitment continues to be extraordinary.
Yes.
And the quality of our staff continues to be great. And you're right. There's not a week that goes by that I don't go out for lunch at some point in time and someone anonymously just picks up the bill.
Right.
In fact, just yesterday, I was at Bell Greek. Shout out to Bell Greek. I love that place.
Okay.
I was at Bell Greek yesterday. And in Chester, and the waitress comes up to me, and actually it wasn't even a member of the community. It was a member of the department. She said, Chief, there's an officer in your department that wanted to buy you lunch anonymously just to thank you.
Wow.
He's taking care of your tab. I've been waiting for a couple weeks for you to come in, but your lunch is covered.
Wow.
Now, you want to
that's
talk
great.
about,
Yeah.
8.5 years of being a police chief, and that's the first time that ever happened. And I thought, you know what? That's pretty cool.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Oh
That's
yeah.
pretty cool.
It
But,
is.
good people doing good for others,
Exactly.
caring for each other.
Exactly.
I said this the other day, you can live in gratitude or you can live in grievance.
Yep.
Yeah.
How
Yep.
you choose to live your life is
Yep.
really your choice.
Good for you. Good for
You know?
you. Good for you.
All right, so that's kind of where we were last year, and this year, again, I talked a little bit about what it was that we sought to do in terms of email and reducing email to 27 words. We're looking to increase our DUI and DUID arrests by 5% this year, so we're going to continue on with that positive momentum. We're going to increase the number of our online child predator operations by 100% in 2021. Something I am passionate about. People need to know that if they try to exploit a child in Chesterfield County,
Right.
we're coming for them.
Yep.
And in fact, I will personally come for you because last operation we did, I was on the arrest team.
Okay.
Yeah.
First guy out the door, and I'm willing to do it again this
Good.
time.
Good.
I love the looks on the face of these people who think that they're there to exploit a child. And we open the door in our
Yep.
raid vests, and they look at us like, what's happening? In fact, some of them actually say, what's happening?
Right.
We just let them know that they've just been struck by lightning, and we take them into custody. So, but again, we're out there,
Yep.
we're public, we're telling people, don't come bring that nonsense
Yeah.
to Chesterfield.
It's
Exactly.
advertised. We released the body camera footage.
The sad thing about it is, despite the fact that we tell people all the time, in a 2-day operation, we arrested 17 people for trying to exploit an underage girl.
Wow.
right.
Wow.
And every time that we don't make an arrest, it's somebody actually exploiting a child in our
child.
community. So
Right.
we're passionate about this. We have doubled the size of our special victims unit in the last 4 years.
Yep.
We're going to continue to do these operations. It is near and dear to my heart. I'm passionate about it, and our people are responding. And so I'm very proud of them. So we're going to develop and implement an internal dashboard giving all members of our department easy access to critical statistical information. I think that's important. We've always got to have a sense of where we are relative to where we want to be.
Right.
Maintain that situational awareness. So we're going to work on a digital dashboard to help facilitate.
good.
That's good. We were just talking
great
about
for
that.
us.
That's good.
We're going to look at everything from recruitment to overtime expenses to use of force to, what ratio of discipline, positive to negative discipline, are we distributing? These are things that are important, and it's good to get a snapshot of that stuff so that things don't get away from you, right? We're going to establish a contract with a private marketing firm, beginning implementation of our branding strategy this year, and I'm very excited about that. The General Assembly allocated about $330,000 to our agency last year, as well as agencies throughout the Commonwealth, for recruitment, retention, and reform efforts. And a lot of agencies, they took that money and they split it up and they gave bonuses to people.
Right.
My sense was, I want value for this money.
Exactly.
I want something that is going to transcend the life of that money, right? So, and I think about, we're a very large organization. And in fact, somebody once told me that we're within one of the top 100 agencies in terms of size for sworn staffing in the country. So, you think of the New York City Police Department, you think of this, the powder blue cars, you think of the checkerboard hats for Chicago PD, the big egg badge for LAPD. Well, what does Chesterfield have, and why can't we be known for something, right? So if we were and I told our bureau commander in charge of administration, I said, if we were a Fortune 500 company and we were to hire a marketing firm, how would we brand our agency?
Good.
And that's what we're going to do.
Good.
And that money is going to
for you.
continue to give us a return on investment over
Good
time.
for you. Yep.
We're going to improve department-wide clearance rates for Group A offenses to greater than 50%. We're hovering around 48, 49%. I want to bump that up a little bit. I think majority of it has to do with how closures are being classified. I think some of it has to do with training. Our homicide clearance rates over 90%.
Oh, yeah.
Our investigators and patrol officers do a fantastic job following up on investigations, but I want to make sure that our agency is getting credit for that.
Right.
We're going to acquire a virtual reality training simulator. We've been working on that for the last year. Judgmental use of force, judgmental interaction. The VR technology out there is phenomenal, and the ability to help develop the confidence of young officers and even maintain the confidence of experienced officers through controlled simulation, I think, is essential. Pilots do it all the time. As professionals, we have an obligation to keep our skill set sharp, and so we're committed to doing that. We're going to achieve 100% sworn command staff participation in our voluntary physical fitness program. And we're encouraging our civilian command staff to do it. And actually, they've all said that they were going to do it. So
Good.
I believe in leading the way in this area. We talked a little prior to the podcast. COVID has been an absolute killer for law enforcement.
Yes.
And people with comorbidities
Yep.
who have contracted COVID have died by the hundreds. I think we lost over 500 officers last year in the line of duty. Overwhelming majority of those are COVID complications.
Right.
The matter of officer safety has changed. It's not just bullets and knives
Exactly.
and being choked out. It is now literally, you could catch a disease and you can die as a result of it. So, I say that leadership is not about taking people from where they are to where they want to go. Sometimes it's taking people where they are to where they need to go.
Exactly.
And where we need to go is in a place of fitness, wellness, and health that we've never been before, because we're facing a challenge
that we've
never
had.
fit before. And so, we're going to lead the way. The command staff is going to participate in this. We're going to ask everybody to participate in it. Eventually, we are going to make it mandatory as part of qualification for being a member of the Chesterfield County Police Department. We are an elite organization, and we are going to require elite performance.
Good.
You don't have to be extreme. You just have to be consistent.
So I don't have to be preparing for the Olympics.
Well, let's face it. Man. You know, what's your 40 speed, really?
Now,
No, what was it? Well,
4.32.
4.32.
Yeah.
That's Willie Parker speed.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
fast Willie Parker,
Uh-huh.
39. Yeah. That's incredible.
Oh yeah, but I was running scared.
Yeah, well, And the last thing, and I'm really excited about this, we are going to be standing up a real-time crime center. It's going to be our region's first real-time crime center, and it is absolutely going to be a game changer.
Wow.
In Chesterfield County. And, one of the features of this, and there are a lot of features, but one of the features of this real-time crime center is we're going to be setting up license plate recognition devices in front of all of our schools.
Okay.
If somebody is on a registered sex offender list, right, and they enter the perimeter of a school, if they're not out in 5 minutes, the patrol area is going to get an alert on their MDTs or their computers in their car saying, hey, there's a sex offender in this school area, right?
Wow.
Now, you talk about a game changer.
Right.
You talk
Yes.
about protecting the vulnerable in our
Yes.
community.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's just one of many features that our real-time crime center is going to have. The county's invested in this vision, and as a agency, we're invested in making it happen. I'm very excited about it.
Wow.
That's great.
awesome. Awesome.
Well, let me ask you a quick question because I know we're running out of time. I know we've done some reorganization.
Yep.
And we've moved community policing to community engagement.
Yes.
You want to speak about that? Not particularly that move, but the title change and name change. I think it speaks volumes as opposed to being a community policing officer, you're a community engagement officer.
Yeah, and look, that's a responsibility of every member of this department. Let's just be clear that this is not an assignment. This is
Right.
this is a vision,
Okay.
it's a mission, and it's something that all of us do. But we do have people that reach out to us. You said kids want to have cop birthday parties,
Right.
Right.
And
Oh, yeah.
you have elderly people that, especially nowadays, they feel so alone.
Right.
Nobody's around, and they
Good.
call us
Yep.
and they say,
Yep.
"Hey, I'm an
Yep.
old retired cop, and I would love to see a brother or sister officer." And,
exactly.
we have people that we can send.
Yep.
That stuff is good. And we're all about meeting the needs of the community. We have special requests that come in, businesses that open that want to have police officers there and things of that nature. And so we're working to be responsive.
Good.
But that engagement piece, again, I want to be clear. These are not just cops walking around in polo shirts and they're the only ones that are out there. That kind of nonsense. I saw that in the early 90s. That was crazy. It was disingenuous.
Right.
The engagement piece, that's something that every single member of this department starts with me and it ends with the recruit walking into the academy.
Exactly.
We all have that responsibility to engage the community.
And that's the same thing we do in recruiting. We have asked officers that the whole department should be recruiters.
Right.
I mean, you're in it. You know how the department works.
Yep.
What's wrong with giving some recommendations about people that you know and being part of our police department? So it's the same thing.
Yeah, that's
Isn't
what
that
the
same-
officers are good about it. I
And
mean,
they
I
are
get- we
excellent
get
about
calls
it.
from
Oh yeah,
officers
all the
saying,
time. Can you talk to this person
Right.
for me? Oh yeah.
I don't know exactly what to tell them. I don't want to tell them
Exactly.
the wrong thing.
Exactly.
Can you reach out to
Yep.
them?
So they're part of that.
And let's face it, they're our best advocates.
It is.
They
They
know the
are.
culture
They
of this
are.
organization.
Yes.
They know what it's like to be a member of this department, and they are our best spokespeople.
Exactly. Exactly.
So what other outreach do we have going on that you would like to speak about? I know you just started the supervisor school you mentioned earlier.
Right.
And I think that's important because you don't see that on television as well.
Right.
But our sergeants or our first line supervisors are getting more and more training. One of the things that I recently like is the new corporal standard for outreach.
Mm-hmm.
So if our employees, we get 24 hours of volunteer leave a year. If they use half of that, they
For
can get
outreach.
credit to continue career development.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it's not just, hey, just go out and do it if you want to do it.
Right.
But we're going to
Reward.
pay you to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we're going to help you out professionally.
Exactly.
For doing this.
Yeah, and look, we're a governmental organization, and governmental organizations are known for being inefficient, not necessarily demanding the very best from people. But I always tell people we are the Ritz-Carlton of police departments, and we are an elite agency.
Yep.
And so we expect elite performance. We expect people to contribute. If you want to sit on your butt and collect a government check, you're not going to do it as a member of this agency.
Right. Good.
Yes.
Good.
We have spent
Good.
the last 4 years of my tenure here establishing who we are, what we're about, and what's important to us. And the next 4 years, we're going to be pushing people harder and
Exactly.
faster than ever to get to where we need to be.
I like that.
We're going to continue to progress forward.
like that.
And we're going to work hard. And it's not something I'm asking anybody to do, something that I'm not willing to do myself.
Exactly.
So before we finish out,
Man, this was a good one.
we need to know in the box what's going on with something nobody else knows about yet.
You know we always love that.
I know you're from Florida.
I've got nothing prepared for you.
I know. Come on.
You always have,
What's the
you always
situation?
have something.
Something is coming.
Come
in
on,
hot.
Colonel. You always
Is it-
have something
you're-
prepared for
You're a
us.
Florida guy, right?
Yeah.
And I haven't noticed that we haven't transitioned to a uniform that has shorts. And we have, unless you're in community policing and community engagement.
Yeah, that's not going to happen, man.
Come on. Let's,
No,
all right.
it's not going to happen.
Let's move on. What's the situation? Something's coming in hot.
I think one year you bought in the no shave, made that,
That has been really popular.
Then you bought in and said, listen, there's going to be a different pay grade coming through soon.
Yep.
On year 2, our second anniversary.
Yeah.
So this is our third anniversary.
Yeah.
Now I know the Colonel.
Yeah.
You always got something in that brain of yours going on that you want to bring to the table.
Yeah, there's always, look, there's a depth chart of ideas. There's a plan A, B, and C, and D.
Okay.
And, if one doesn't work, we go to the next.
That's what I'm talking about.
So, yeah, we've got a couple things that are
Good.
in the hopper right now, but nothing I'm willing to talk about
Good.
at this point. Just know that.
No teasers? No teasers.
Well, the continual push to be better tomorrow than we are today, that's something that will define us going forward.
Awesome. That's good. You're not reading all of that.
I know, it's not juicy, Elliot. It's not juicy.
Elliot,
I heard him.
you're not reading all of that.
Right.
Hey, look, we don't need to seduce people anymore. We've defined who we are.
Yes, we have. That's true.
At this point,
That's
what we
true.
need to do is we need to let people know that if you're willing to go with us on this journey for excellence,
Yep.
Then we're going to work to get better tomorrow than we are today. And that is a continual process. And we ask people to join us in that journey. If they want to be part of it, that's great. If they don't, there are other alternatives. out
They
there.
really are.
Yeah,
They really are.
It's who we are.
Yep, that's who we are.
Yep.
Well, partner, that's a great one.
Yeah.
We just had another good one. I know we went way past the time that we usually go.
we
But the
got
Colonel
some-
had a lot to say.
We got a great sound engineers here, Chris Rizzuti and Lena Shaduli, and they can get it together.
Well, Colonel, we want to thank you. Thank you for taking the time to come in and talk to us.
Sharing that
Again,
vision for 2022 and the future. Beyond.
Exactly. And that's going to kick us forward to what we want to do in 2022 with the next folks that we have coming in here. Even if it's sometimes you might have to bring in a business
Right.
sponsor or someone to come in and talk to us about what they're doing as a partnership with the police department.
Yeah.
So I like that. I do like
Yeah.
that. Well, partner, that's a good one.
Yes, thank you. And we'd like to remind all of our listeners that we are still hiring for police positions, police service aides, emergency communications, and other civilian positions throughout the police department. You can find us on social media or on joinccpd.org.
I love you when you
Thanks
say
and
that right.
listen for the next show.
All right.
All right, take care, guys.
Thank you, sir.